Hello everyone and welcome to this video, which is in our chess variant series. I'm Grandmaster Matthew Sadler and we are taking a look at some more sideways pawn chess or pawn sideways chess. So what are we going to do in this video? I just wanted to show you a few just little tricks, opening tricks that I've come across, which I thought were rather nice. First one is actually from the Rossolimo, Sicilian Rossolimo. So this is where you basically play bishop b5 against knight c6. Very popular line here. And well, one of the main lines for white and black is black plays e6. Now, bishop takes c6 in normal chess is often quite interesting. But of course, in sideways pawn chess, pawn sideways chess, then it isn't particularly, because obviously if you take something off, we can just straighten our pawns up later with d6. So white plays the move castles, and then knight e7, knight c3. And knight d4 played. Takes and takes, knight e2 and a6. And white's got a few possibilities here. Bishop d3 is the old move, but bishop a4 has actually been played most of all. Well, maybe have a little think here. What does black have in this position? It's kind of surprising that there is the move b5, bishop b3, and c4, trapping the bishop. Really nice, isn't it? It really is nice. I was waiting for it to happen in a game, but I think my opponent gave away a piece in another way, to be honest. But I thought that one was really nice because it's in a main theoretical line. So pretty powerful there. When those things can happen. Now, another thing that I noticed was this line, the c3 Sicilian. Quite a sleepy little line, and normally in the c3 Sicilian, black would most probably play the move knight f6 in this position, and after e5 play knight d5, and after d4 the standard line is to take there, and then let's say c takes d4, d6. All well known. Quite even, really. However, in this position, white's got something better. Can you see what it is? Yeah, this is a very common idea in these lines. You play the move c4. When the knight moves back, well, let's put it to b6. Not the best, but the most obvious. What do? That's right. We play d5. And well, you've got some problems with the old knights there. Yeah, just a huge advantage for white there. Probably something like knight b8, and then queen takes d4 is going to be really strong. So a very nice idea, and yeah, I mean this idea of a pawn on e5 moving sideways to d5, very common in the opening there. One funny thing that I noticed, two funny things actually, a little bit King's Gambit related. I mean, the first thing is that after e4, e5, f4, King's Gambit, the normal line is e takes f4, knight f3. But what extra possibility does black have here after knight f3? Well, we're very familiar with all sorts of lines in the King's Gambit, g5, d6, knight f6, whatever. But in pawn sideways chess, black also has the opportunity of g4, chasing away the knight on f3. So that's quite funny somehow to see that. It's the same thing in the Queen's Gambit Accepted, of course, that if you were to play this, and knight c3, it's a known line, then b4 would be very irritating for white. The from gambit is actually kind of interesting. This is after f4 e5 is played an awful lot. I've got some great stuff from Leela at odds actually with this, but f takes e5, d6 is normal. But what extra possibility does white have in this position? Yeah, I mean, e takes d6 is normal, but you could also try the move d5, just avoiding giving black that activity and just hoping to, develop the knight and then put some pawns in the center. Doesn't matter if you lose this one back, at least your king is kind of safe, and you've got the f-file open. I mean, you could even meet queen h4 with this move if you particularly wanted. So. I keep on forgetting that, actually. I keep on forgetting that these checks can be met by pawn moves like that. Let's have a look. What else did I have there? Oh yeah, another one of these. Actually, this is one that I almost fell into with black. So knight c6. White's got the move order knight c3. And well, if you don't mind playing the classical Sicilian, you might want to have a look at knight f6. With the idea of transposing into this line. But white's got something in this position which is quite interesting. What would it be? Yeah, you can do this one again, e5. And after knight g4, you can play d5, which is rather annoying. Yeah, obviously knight d4 takes. I'm going to take on g4 afterwards. And I guess that if I go knight e5, I've got various stuff, but yeah, just as a simple start, this would be pretty decent for white. So yeah, quite a nice thing there. This move of the pawn to e5 and then sidewards shift to d5. You see this in a lot of openings. Well, let me show you what I mean. So e4, Scandinavian, d5. E takes d5, and then a favourite of the Australian grandmaster David Smurden always played knight f6 an awful lot, and now normally you end up taking on d5, or after here you might sack a pawn with e6 or c6. But after knight f6, what does white have? You guessed it. There's e5 attacking the knight. So yeah, this is one of the lines that's not particularly good for black. Actually, it's quite similar really, because let's have a look. The favourite of Mr. Dodgy, Twitter's favourite chess joker, the Budapest. But what happens after d takes e5, knight g4? Well, black normally ends up capturing the pawn on e5, but actually we can just sidestep with d5. So yeah, Budapest also not one of the greatest openings in pawn sideways chess. Yeah, I mean, actually, there's oh, another good one like that actually is the let's have a look at the Albin counter gambit, e5. Very popular actually in the 1900s, 1905. Even players like Tarrasch were playing it. It was really very, very popular. But after d4, what is white's next move here? What can white do? Well, definitely one move that white should consider is to play the move d5 here, just blocking the queen's protection of the pawn on d4 and threatening to capture it. Yeah, I mean, I guess black might try something like e4 in actual fact, stopping the knight from coming to f3. So the game goes on, but yeah, d5 is definitely a nice way of making that double pawn on e5, of making that one safe. Let's have a look. What else do we have? Oh yeah. This one's quite funny. The Benko Gambit. So d4 knight f6, c4 c5, d5 b5. What extra possibility does white have in this position? Yeah, I mean, instead of taking on b5, you can also consider the move e5 in this position. with the nice point that if knight e4, I go queen d5, forking rook on a8 and knight on e4. So definitely a very nice thing to do against the Benko. And also, of course, against the Benoni as well. You can even consider this. I'm not 100% sure that's how good that is, but you can definitely consider it because, yeah, certainly comes a nasty shock to any black player who's just automatically playing his opening. And let's have a look. Did I have any more, or was that the whole lot for you? I think that was more or less it. It's just things that I've come across just whilst playing games and looking at stuff. I hope that gives you a little bit of a feel for for opening theory in pawn sideways chess. I mean, the key thing to remember is that early pawn sacrifices, you've got to be very careful because that pawn that you thought you'd capture later is mobile and can actually move to the side, like the Budapest or the Albin Gambit or even the King's Gambit as well. Yeah, I mean that really sort of rules out a few openings, but also introduces a few extra possibilities as well. So there we are. Hope you just enjoyed that quick look at openings in pawn sideways chess. And well, stay tuned. Got lots more coming. Really lots of good stuff coming for you. So do stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.